I'm your man, Carolina Sin. This is the absolute prettiest Tiff. Today's episode that we'll be following this. We just want to give everybody an opportunity to not watch it if that's what they so feel. And I know that sounds weird. I usually post clips from the week's episode to promote it. I'm not going to do that this time because of how sensitive of a subject this is. We still want everybody, of course, that feels like they can watch it or wants to watch and hear our thoughts on the process to watch it. But the episode is about the loss during a relationship, whether it be a miscarriage or the loss of a child. That is very near and dear to us. And it's an important subject. And we did want to talk about it. It was a viewer request. But again, I want to give a clear opportunity for somebody to not watch it if they don't feel it, because I know how sensitive and how emotional that can be for everybody, and we want to show the utmost respect. Right, Tiff?
Absolutely.
So again, she is the most beautiful Tiff. I'm Carolina. So enjoy the show if you do decide to stay, and if you don't, we understand, and we'll see you next week.
Won't you please?
We're who you should be listening to, admit it. The prettiest Tiff in Carolina, get it? Love, family, and friends. This be the energy, a better understanding so we can all be complete. Each time spitting raw and unrehearsed, either in your feelings or laughing till it hurts. Love and flaws, the show that you all need. Join us every week for the best of us, guaranteed.
Here we go.
I can't hear you.
Let me try that again. What's happening? I'm over here muted, having technical difficulties. That's the kind of day it's been.
Oh, it's all good.
What's happening, dog? I'm your bad Carolina Sin. This is the absolute prettiest Tiff. Y'all don't know this because the way we record just to give y'all a little insight. For those who actually follow us, we appreciate you. We love y'all. We typically record 2 to 3, sometimes 4 episodes a week so that we have continuous content when we're gone. But Tiff been gone. I ain't been able to talk to my sis for a minute. What? See why they living her best life. Now, I don't know if this one's going up tomorrow or when, but just know we be working hard, getting recordings and editings to make sure that we always drop for y'all every week. So, what's up, mama?
Hi.
Live out there. Stella getting her groove back out there.
Listen, no, it wasn't even. It was family time. You know, I needed some overdue family time. So, yeah, we had a ball though. We had a ball. You know what I'm saying? But you do gotta live your life. We tore it up on that boat. We tore it up.
So I can't wait. Me and my homeboys going at the end of January.
Yes.
Where
are y'all going to?
Yo, so we're going to Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, and Cozumel.
Okay. Oh, Cozumel's the bomb.
I've been to Cozumel before.
Yeah, I love it there.
But what's going on? You having
make
flashes?
Sure y'all drink some tequila for me.
You having flashes? You good, mama?
Yeah. Listen,
we've been talking for a whole hour before we started this, and she ain't fan one damn time.
But they only come, man. They used to come. Woo, baby. Let me tell you, I was with my funny story, real quick, sidebar to the sidebar.
Okay.
I was with my son and we were somewhere, and he's never seen me have a hot flash because, you know, he doesn't live with me. He's out on his own.
Okay.
And so I was just sitting talking, and all of a sudden I just started sweating. He was like, "Ma, you okay?"
My man thought you was having a stroke or something.
I was having a heart attack or
right.
Yo. I said, "No, son, I'm fine. I'm just going through the change of life." He was like, "That's what happens?" I said, "Absolutely." As I said, it'll pass. Give it about 5 minutes, it'll pass.
Right.
But
right.
these things are, woo, baby. Y'all got it easy. Y'all got it easy.
If you say so. I'm not.
Well, when
I'm
it comes
not
to the physical shit,
you
we got to
so?
deal with the cycle forever. And then when
Forever,
she decides to stop, then we got to go
somebody
through hot flashes and cravings like we pregnant. I got a damn pregnancy test one time knowing I wasn't pregnant. But
I thought, I'm about to sound real ignorant. I thought the cycle thing went away eventually.
Yeah, it does. But that's what I'm saying. Once that goes away, then you go through menopause where the hot flashes and the cravings and you feel like you're damn pregnant, but you know you ain't pregnant because you in menopause. So you're not supposed to be able to get pregnant while you're in menopause.
We have it worse. Because we got to put up with y'all while y'all going through all that.
Well, most of us by that age are single anyway, so.
Wow. That's even worse.
Yeah. So, but it's rough. But I'll be all right in a couple minutes. I'm starting to cool down as we speak. So.
Go drop the AC down.
Well, I got the heat on like 77.
What?
What? I'm naturally cold because I'm anemic.
No. 77 is fucking. You still on the islands and shit. What are you talking about? 77.
I'm cold. No. See, my daughter just came in and said, "Mommy, it's cold. Can we turn it up some more?" She likes it
at
on like
77.
80.
What's it on? What's it on?
It's 77.
But that's the temperature in there. 77.
Yeah. So it'll go till it's 77. And then if it gets under 77, it'll kick back on.
Right. I understand how heaters work, Ma.
What you gonna do for dinner? I'm recording, please. Yes.
Yo, 77 is crazy.
Great.
Anything above like 72, 73, I'm dying.
Oh, we would be freezing.
What?
We would be freezing.
Maybe it's different
now I will
say
at night I drop it down a little bit because I don't like to sleep hot.
Right.
But I work from home and I'm sitting still all day, and so because I'm not moving, I'm not burning any energy. I'm not using any energy. So I'm cold. Once I start moving around, I feel a little bit better. But
we be having it on like 74, 75 during the day when nobody else is home, and I'm back here in my corner we converted the garage into a room.
Okay.
And I be in here burning up at 74. Yo, I don't. Now I will say, this is where we're so off topic, but we're gonna get this stuff out the way before we get into what we're talking about.
We haven't talked in forever, so
right. Winter 74 and summer 74, two different 74s.
Yeah, facts.
Like when it's cold outside, you can have it up higher and it don't feel as hot. So I do, but I still think 77 kind of damn extreme.
You think so?
You 3 degrees away from 80. What are you talking about?
See, my daughter would like it to be on 80, but for me, that's way too hot.
Ship her entirely somewhere else. Like, she got to go. What?
I told her when she get older, her damn electric bill.
What?
She gonna be calling me to my mommy, I need $100 on my electric bill.
Man. But anyways, this is the Love and Flaws podcast, where we talk about everything love, family, in between. Apparently, tropical weather Tiff over here. She be in the island so much. She gotta have it 80 degrees when she comes.
Listen, I love it hot.
It don't make sense then, but you fanning yourself off though. It don't make no sense.
Well, that's just because I'm having a hot flash.
Because it's 77 fucking degrees.
No, the hot flash makes you feel like it's like 125 degrees.
It doesn't help
instantly.
That it's 77 degrees in there though. Dang. All right, y'all. We got all right, so
just know when we go on vacation together.
Oh boy.
I'm gonna have to bring me a heated blanket.
No, what are you talking about?
Because you're gonna be like, Tiff, I need the air to be on. I'm gonna be like, it's too damn cold.
All right, we about 8 minutes in. We gonna actually get on what we came here for today.
All right, let's get it. Let's get in
But
it.
that's why
Let's go.
that's part of why they love us though, because
Right.
we are 1000% authentic in who we are. We appreciate
Absolutely.
everybody in the LAF family.
We solid. We solid.
Most of our shows are, while they are serious topics, about life and things of that nature, most of the time we're cracking up, laughing the entire time. This one probably be a little more serious.
Yeah.
I still think we will find
Humor.
our areas where we can say some things that are just comical. It's no laughing matter. So I want to just add a couple of disclaimers, that being one. So listen, we find things funny all the time, and it doesn't necessarily mean we're trying to be dismissive of the topic or anything of that nature. It's just part of who we are. Also, on this topic that we're about to discuss, I want to make it very clear: me and Tiff are not professionals. Neither one of us are a psychologist or a psychiatrist, or have an MD or anything like that. I'm not even going to try and add any kind of weight to it by saying, "Oh, I've studied this or I've studied that." I think we're both intelligent human beings, and we are just coming at this from perspectives of just being human and just being compassionate and just wanting to talk about this, because these are the type of things that people are not usually talking about. And so this episode is about dealing with loss while in a relationship. And so I'm gonna go ahead and give that warning again. This one might not be for everybody, because we're going to talk about losing children and maybe losing partners. So I'm putting that out there, but we're going to try and give it the respect. Our intention is definitely all the respect that comes with this. And sorry, I'm trying to get comfortable. And so if we say anything out of line, it wasn't intentional, but again, we're 100% authentic. We're 100% real. So this was a part of it. The first half of this was a request from one of the viewers to talk about this, because, and I'm not going to mention names or anything like that, but I have at least one viewer that has dealt with or is currently dealing with the loss of a child, whether it be. So we're going to just talk about it from, I guess we can start hitting it from different angles. We can start with what I think we most commonly hear about is miscarriages, right? And then we can talk about I'm sorry. I just got hit. It just hit me because I was just thinking about some of the people that are in my life that are close to me right now that have dealt with this over the last year, 2 years, and stuff like that. Losing a child just in general. So I will say this. I know that. Well, Tiff, I don't even know. So
Yeah, first I would like to say, my condolences go out to anyone who has been affected, by going through this, the topic that we're speaking about. I have never personally been through losing a child. I couldn't imagine what that feels like, no matter how that loss happens. But so my condolences, I do extend my condolences. I will pray for you. And I know, you don't want to, I don't, saying it'll get better is not going to do any justice to what you're going through. But it will get better, and my prayers and thoughts are with you.
So I'm gonna start with personal experience, and then we'll try and delve into some of the questions maybe surrounding it.
Okay.
Most people know that I have a amazing 16-year-old daughter. All right. And
Amazing, beautiful.
don't gas her up too much.
She is
And
gorgeous.
thank you though. And me and my daughter's mother had not been together since she was a baby. Like that was the last time we made an attempt at trying to have our relationship work out or whatever. Right. So 15 years ago, I guess at this point, right?
Wow, yeah.
During that time, my kid's mom got pregnant again. I don't know that my kid's mom watches this, so I hope she doesn't mind me telling this to the world or whatever like that. But and she miscarried.
Oh, wow.
So it was like it was I don't even know. I think it was like I don't know how old I was, 25-ish, 26-ish or whatever when it happened. Maybe 27. It's always weird to me how, and I didn't know if you had ever maybe had one or not or whatnot like that, but it was always weird to me how traditionally it's just women who deal with the miscarriage, and like people don't think about the dads or whatever. And I am by no means trying to think that there's an equal weight involved in that, because I don't have something inside of me that I've been trying to give life to
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? But it hurt it I'm more sensitive probably than the average dude. You know what I mean? I'm in touch with my feminine qualities and traits and stuff like that, my emotions. Oh, even being a tough guy in other aspects and stuff. And it messed
Mm-hmm.
me up. I could not imagine what that does to a woman that is growing a life inside of her, and then for that to go away. I think it affects everybody differently.
Yeah.
I feel like whether people are masking it or not, I feel like there's a lot of people that talk about it and they're okay. Now,
Yeah.
to what degree they are okay with it, I don't, you can't be
Yeah.
inside somebody's mind. But I do know, and I have people that are close to me that have had miscarriages, and it is devastating.
Yeah.
Especially if you've been trying to have a baby, and the impact that has on the relationship, if with your husband or your spouse, your significant other, that's got to be, how do you console? To me, there are certain things in life that are just inconsolable, if that's a word. I don't know if inconsolable is a word, but if it is,
I
if
think
it's not
unconsolable. Maybe.
unconsolable,
Maybe. I don't know.
but it's those are the kind of things that it's hard. Sometimes it's hard, especially and most of us men, we don't know how to help y'all when y'all going through y'all period once a month, let alone something that tragic happen.
Yeah.
That type of tragedy.
Yeah.
Not all
I
men,
think
of
with
course.
that too, though,
Not
one
all
of the main things is, like you said earlier, everyone deals with loss
grief differently.
different. And I think, I've never had to go through that in a relationship or out of a relationship. Um, I think giving each other space to grieve in your own way is very important. But I also think you have to find a common ground to be able to grieve with one another.
Absolutely.
And I think that's probably, my heart breaks when I think about that, because it can either make or break a relationship.
Yeah, I feel like that too.
if you're not giving each other, because like you said, you think of a miscarriage and the first thing that we're of course are going to think about is the child, but then the mother and having the
Right.
physical along with the mental aspect, right? Because she's feeling both of those things. Where the man,
And your hormones are already kind of off
right?
and everything.
Yeah, but I think for us to act as if the father doesn't have, because you have men out here too that all they want to do is be fathers.
Yo,
And so,
I wanted another baby so bad at that point in time.
yeah. And so, like, imagine that being one of your greatest gifts, and you feel like you're gonna get that gift, and then it's taken away from you.
I still think even having gone through it personally and it hurt as much as it did, I still think it's tougher on the woman.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. But I just think sometimes we as a society, we feel like the man doesn't require any attention.
Right.
We tend to push him to the side like, oh, let's run to the mom. And we should run to the mom. I'm not saying we shouldn't, but I think, in the back of somewhere there needs to be room for understanding for the father as well. But absolutely, the woman is 1000% going through it worse than the man. I mean, yes, you all are fathers, you love your children, but you have no idea
Nothing
what
about
it
pregnancy.
feels like to carry
Right.
another life inside of you and how that attachment and energy, like it's unexplainable.
So I feel like, and again, I'm not an expert. I don't know statistics on any of this.
Yeah.
We're just talking about it because that's what we do. I feel like probably the bulk of the relationships that fall apart after something like that is because the man doesn't know how to console his partner.
You think so?
I think that, and people can chime in when we post this and let us know.
Yeah.
Cause I feel like this is my first reaction to why the relationship doesn't work is that the man doesn't know how to comfort his woman, and she starts feeling now she's already dealing with the pain and the anguish and the hurt and stuff, but now there's a resentment towards this person for not providing enough maybe support or whatever. Because traditionally, and I'm always going to speak in that kind of traditional sense because I'm a protector.
Yeah.
Right? It's going to kill me to see my woman going through that. Me, I'm trying to figure out, I'm reading every book I can. I'm trying to watch every video I can. I'm trying to figure out whatever it is. And everybody's different, like we talked about, right?
Yeah.
You might just need me to sit in the corner and not say nothing. But I need to be in the room. Right. I can't be in the other room doing that. I need to be in the room with you doing it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or it could be any myriad of different things. Now, I also think, and then my second thought goes that some people after that are unconsolable. Right? Like no matter what he does, it's just different now. And then the relationship goes a different way. I think the people who I hate, like, I don't want to, you tell me, you let me know. You think it's I don't want to blame people who don't survive it, but I do think it's a test of how much you and your partner are really in sync, in tune, and love each other to come out of that maybe stronger or better or whatever.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. And I also think that, unfortunately, that happening may allow each party to see that that isn't the person that maybe they should be with.
Oh yeah, because that's
You
the
know,
truth.
because again, I've never been through that, but I, you know, now I've gotten pregnant after my daughter was born. I got my tubes tied, and so a year after, I found out I was pregnant, and I had a tubal pregnancy. So I was pregnant in my tubes, and so I couldn't have the child. I was 3 months pregnant, and I didn't know it. And so of course, when I found out, my first response was, "Well, can I keep my, you know, is my baby gonna live?" Like, I'm not thinking they have to, but they couldn't. So, I mean, that was still a loss for me. It wasn't a
Oh
miscarriage
yeah,
or,
but
but
that's tough.
yeah. And so, um, yeah, I mean, but I think that I was married at the time when it happened, and you know, he understood that even though it wasn't your traditional loss, it was a loss for me.
Right.
And I just think that if you and your it just like you said, the best way is like, is this gonna, are we gonna stand the stand through this storm together? Or, you know, are you gonna be whisked off by the water and I'm gonna be whisked off by the rain, you know, or
Yeah.
the so it I
Like and it's tough because, like I said, I don't even want to fault people who can't survive it, because
yeah,
it's like that shit's just something else.
yeah. I think that's a, you know, I think for both of us, you and our children, um, you know, is a very near and dear subject for us.
Right.
And the loss of a child, you know, and I'm sitting here and I'm like, it automatic, even just hearing the loss of a child takes you to a dark place for me. Like, it just
Yeah.
takes me to like a sad place. And so imagine having to be that woman that goes through that. And then, you know, the woman might feel, depending on what the reason is for the miscarriage, that she's, you know,
At fault.
not adequate. Like, she, you know what I mean? So it can just, I, I, I would say that, you know, you have to rely on each other, but you also have to give each other space to grieve in your own manner. Because I think
Right.
sometimes what I would think would happen in that type of situation is that the one person maybe feels like you said, not even supporting, but you're not grieving it right. Why aren't you that upset? Or why aren't you feeling what I'm feeling? Where that person could be feeling it, but maybe they're just distributing it in a different manner.
Right.
And so with any type of loss, while you're in a relationship with somebody, you have to give each other room to grieve
Yeah.
in your own way. And I think, you know, that's probably one of the biggest
I
things,
think
because then the woman's like, well, you're not, you know,
right.
support me. But he's like, well, I'm over here grieving, but y'all playing basketball. Well, that's how I'm grieving.
Right.
You know, I need to get my mind off
And
of
we
it. I'm
gotta
gonna do something physical.
You're right. We gotta remember that in that situation, emotions are just, for lack of a better term, out of whack. They're just not,
Yeah.
they're not dialed in the way that they would normally be. You're gonna feel, you might have less patience with your partner over certain things.
Right.
Your fuse is might be a little shorter, or something may trigger you about, you know, you might have days where you feel all right, and then something triggers it, and now you back and forth at it. I do think maybe one of the hardest things is going to be realizing that life is going to go on, and that you can still be happy. Because I know, like you talked about, like the guilt, I'm sure, again, I'm not an expert, but I'm sure there's mothers that are like, it's not, why are we continuing life when the baby didn't get to, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Or like,
And
what's
so,
wrong with me?
right.
If I
So
can't
turning that
even,
page,
you know,
get into the cliche things, like getting to a good point, turning the page, and being able to move on. I've always said that with grief, moving on is not. Sometimes we hear some of these things and we think negative, like I'm not moving on. I can't forget. I'm not. Nah, like we have to live life. Part of, unfortunately, part of being grown-ups and adults is that we have to live life with loss at times. And we will, it can continue and life can still be great. And for those who miscarriage, there's, for a lot of people, there's an opportunity, because I don't want to be dismissive of those who can't even conceive, right? But for a lot of people, you can still have another one or whatnot like that. And that's even going to be tough, right? That's going to be hard, like miscarrying and then going through pregnancy again. You're going to be terrified. Terrified. Like I see those stories all the time.
Yeah.
I will say, for not having been, like again, not an expert, we're not doctors. For everybody that has experienced that, you are still worthy of a good life. You're still an amazing person, and my hopes are, with good energy out to you, like it's gonna get better.
Mm.
And
I think finding like support groups and counseling, and even just that one friend that you make a pact with, like, listen, anytime you're available, if I'm just needing to vent or cry, can I call
right.
you, so that I can get, I think that's important, to find the support so that you can get back to those feelings of you are enough, you are worthy.
Right.
And that incident doesn't define you as a woman, as a mother, as a partner, so.
And it's okay to grieve, and it's okay to grieve however you want. I
As
will
long as you're not hurting
segue.
yourself or somebody else.
Right. I will segue into the next part of it. And again, I want to make sure everybody's clear about what we're talking about. We're talking about the loss. So you can lose a child that has been born and lived. And I think it's along the same lines. Like, it takes, some people put more value, you know what I'm talking about. Some people, like, you lose a baby you had never met. It's not as bad as losing a child that you've lived with. And like, I understand knowing a child longer or whatever. I don't know that the pain is, can't speak to it. I just know I have people who are close to me that over the last couple of years, I've seen it happen a couple of times, that have lost their child. Now, let me tell you
and
something.
I know a lot of people who have.
Right. Let me tell you something. There's not a single person on this planet that puts fear in my heart. There's not a single event that scares me, that has me fearful. I want to go swim with sharks. I'm trying to figure it out. There's nothing. I'm not fearing anything. The only thing that terrifies me is if something happens to my baby girl.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. I thought I was invincible. I have been through a bunch of knuckleheaded things. Shot, stabbed, burnt, all kind of crazy. I've been jumped, everything, car accidents, all kind of stuff.
Yeah.
My baby girl, and then we almost lost her when she was born.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We were my kid's mom had her at midnight, and we did the initial feeding, all of that stuff. And they come in a couple hours later in the middle of the night, and they're like, "Yo, we don't want to alarm you." They start off with that shit. We don't want to alarm you, but there's something going on with the vet. Right? It's 2-3 o'clock in the morning or whatever, and we like, we had just went to sleep for the first time because she had it at midnight.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go. And she had a C-section, so my kid's mom couldn't get up out of bed and go, which compounded it, right? So I go with the nurses to the nursery, and I walk in there, and they just all standing around the basket, what is it?
Bassinet.
Bassinet? Yeah.
Bassinet.
Can't talk. Bassinet. That's what I was, whatever. And so they was like, yo, it's like, yeah, she's not responding. She's losing her color. Like she's turning like purple and stuff like that. And so they was like, we're going to take a needle and give her a pinch, like on her arm or her leg, just to see if she cries. It's because she's not being responsive, right? And so they did that shit, and she didn't cry. She wasn't responsive. And so they're like, all right, so we have the NIC unit here. Like, I'm just thankful. There was a nurse that used to work for the NIC unit in Sacramento, and the NIC unit was there to pick up another child that was born early. And the nurse that was at a hospital was like, yo, can you come take a look at this little girl? I just feel like something's not right. So like everything had to be in place for them to be able to catch this,
right?
You know, and so they're like, yeah, we're gonna take her to Sacramento, which luckily for us was only about 45 minutes to an hour away, and because so we gotta hook her up. So they come in there and they're just like, we're gonna bring her in here. Well, first they're like, we're gonna take a picture. We're going to take a picture of her. We're going to take a picture of you. We're going to put your picture in it with her. We're going to give y'all the picture. And we're going to bring her in here. Don't freak out. She's going to be in. And I don't know if anybody's ever seen what they transport babies in the ambulance for NIC unit, but it's the bassinet that looks like a transformer version. It's just big. You know what I'm saying? And
the incubator?
It looks like that. They're encased and they got all everything running to it and stuff. And so they were like, we're gonna give you an opportunity to see her without being as dark as possible. Like, we're giving you an opportunity to see her before she goes, because anything can happen from this point forward.
Right.
And that, they say it like that too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so you're like, we getting ready to say goodbye to our child that's sick. My kid's mom is cut up. She can't get out of bed for 3 more days or whatever. And so they're like, I'm like, how fast can I go? Can I ride with it? Like, no, you can't. I couldn't ride with it. And they was like, it's probably gonna take about 2 hours before we get her where she's gonna be and everything like that. So now I gotta leave my kid's mom in the hospital by herself to go drive to Sacramento to go in there, and it's terrifying.
Yeah.
Terrifying. And we joke about it now, but like when I walked in, they had her incubated, so they had the tube down her throat and stuff, and they had the the IV was in her head because they couldn't find veins in her arm and stuff. So for months she wouldn't wear, when you take cute baby pictures and shit, she wasn't having no lace things, no hats, none of that. She didn't want none of that. So I walk up and they're like, we gotta tell you, it's not gonna look. You might be taken aback. You know what I mean? She's got a tube down her throat. We had to put the IV in her head. So I go over there to see my baby girl, and like she's crying, but you can't hear a sound because she's got a tube in her throat. But you can see it on her face, like she's crying and shit. The absolute worst shit in the world, right? And so now So after, obviously, I have a beautiful, strong, powerful 16-year-old girl. She survived it. I'm thankful for that. But like when she came home and she would cry, I like cry baby girl because I love this. That's the best sound in the world to me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And so we were in there with other parents that were losing their kids and stuff. And to lose, then for a child to live part of its life and you go through everything and then lose the child. Like,
Yeah. I I mean, my heart just I you know, if anything in this world could take me out,
oh, that's
it
it.
would be you know, the loss of one of my children.
Right.
I don't even think that I could function, and I unfortunately have many friends who have lost their children.
Right.
And I'm not, you know, again, I'm not discounting babies or anything or small kids or kids, but I mean adult children, you know,
Right.
young,
Right.
I shouldn't say adult, but young teenage
Right.
children. Um, and going to those funerals and, you know,
No.
um, I'm telling you,
And it's happened to people close to me. Why? And when I tell you I hurt when they hurt,
yeah,
I don't have the hurt that they hurt at all. But
yeah,
God Almighty, it's I don't know. I guess there's nothing that can be said other than like you and y'all not alone, right? Like, and none of that makes it better. I hate it.
yeah,
Like, I hate that after a loss when people try to say all the cliche things, but I mean that's all we can do, right?
yeah.
We are
I think too, you know, we just need to be present. You
exactly
know, if you have a friend, if you have a family member, um, you know, I'm that type of friend that is going to say, I'm here when you need me. Whatever you need, if it's within my power, my reach, you got me.
right.
Um, you know, I'm not a forceful person because I believe that everyone has to grieve in their own way.
Yeah,
Me personally, I'm a person who likes to deal with things on my own. And so sometimes I feel like maybe that person does need time alone, but then the love you have for them, you're like you want them to not be alone. You know, it's hard. It's
right,
hard. So I think one of the major things is just let that person know let that person tell you what they need.
right.
You know, adhere to that as much as you can.
And be compassionate and tolerant.
Yeah. Yeah,
You know what I mean?
absolutely.
Like we've got to be compassionate and tolerant to those that are going through those kind of things. Because to me, I mean that's got to be the worst pain imaginable.
Yeah. And I think too sometimes we expect people to bounce back from those type of situations and be their same self, their normal, you know,
Nah,
like there's no way. I had growing up, my sister had a loss in her family and we were very young, and the loss was her brother and he was very young. And I remember looking at her mom and just seeing a different person, and you know what I mean, in that moment, and
right.
being that young, realizing that she was never going to be
The
that
same thing.
same person to, you know, not meaning like I still loved her, I still, you know, she was still my second mama, but it was just like I knew that it was going to be a difference. And instead of, like you said earlier, bashing or talking about or, oh, that's we, you know, she still has this to do and that's,
Yeah,
you know,
because as a people, we suck nowadays.
yeah, we do. Yeah. And so, you know, just like you said, though, having that compassion. And I remember my mother extending, you know, so much compassion, you know, and watching my mother do that, it, you know, it helped me, unfortunately, on how to deal with it when I got older. And, you know, like I said, many of my friends have lost their, you know, I've known many people to do that. So it's hard. There's no right way. But yeah, I always, you know, tell my kids, you know, as they, because me and my kids, we talk about everything. And I lost my nephew, and I was like, I will tell you now, if I ever lost any one of y'all, like y'all want, whoever's left, you're gonna have to go to your dad, because
Right.
I can't do no more. I'm done. I
I
just
always
can't
tell
do it.
people, if something happened to mine, y'all better lock me in a padded room.
Yeah,
Cause
now I'm just gonna have to go out into the woods and live. Like yeah.
Cause I'm gonna be violent.
Mm.
I feel like that. I guess you never know, but I feel like
Yeah.
that's gonna be my reaction. Like I'm gonna want to punch any and everybody that gets around me.
Yeah.
That
And
would be my
again, there's
reaction.
no wrong way. There's
Yeah. I
I think
guess.
that I would take a turn and want to just kind of like slowly end my life. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I
It'd
feel
be
like
tough.
I would be incomplete. And
And that's
by
why,
no means
and
am I saying that any of
right,
that is how anyone should deal
right.
with it.
But that's
I'm
exactly
just
why
trying to
we're talking
process
about,
it in
right,
my head. And so when I see people down, the empathy is real and the concern is real, because all I can think about is if that would have been me. And I, you know, I see so many strong people go through it, you know.
right.
Um I ooh, that's a hard one.
Yeah. And that's why though. I mean, that's that part of it, what you talked about, was why we've got to be better to
Yeah,
people. We got to be
we do.
compassionate. We got to try and show empathy. I mean, that's hard. That's hard to do if you haven't been through it. But you've got to be, like I said, tolerant and compassionate. Like,
Well, I
and
mean,
be,
empathy is not, you don't have to go through it to have empathy. You don't know the feeling that they're feeling, right? You
right,
can't relate to that. But any any parent, if you just I mean, I think part of being a parent and why we worry and why we have certain things in order and in place for, because you don't want to lose your kids, right? You don't
yeah,
want there to be a fatality. And you know, so if you as a parent can just stop and think, oh my
right,
gosh, how would I even think I would feel?
right,
I think all the empathy in the world would just ooze out of you. Like,
yeah.
yeah, I mean, there's no way you can't be
And we just got to be
compassionate and
good to people. We
empathize.
just got to be good to people, you know.
Yeah,
So, but
absolutely. And I think loss in a relationship, whether it's a child, you know, some people lose their parents while they're in a relationship. Um, you know, that can be hard. I mean, I just think loss overall in a relationship is hard because you have two different people struggling with the same loss, you know, and you know, it has to be that yin and that yang type of thing in
and
that
it's tough
moment.
because no matter how much you love somebody,
Yeah.
no matter how much you care about somebody, there's just no way to know how you're going to respond to that, you know?
Yeah.
And it
There's
doesn't
no
mean,
way.
because like you said, you could be two different people after that. That's why I said I don't even fault people who work out because of it. I admire people who come out of it stronger and
Right.
they got through it. But I don't fault. I mean, unless somebody was just shitty, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
there's
yeah,
exceptions, but I'm just saying if it was because it changed you so much, and you and that person are not the same people for each other, like that's just gonna happen sometimes.
yeah. Right.
So,
Yeah.
but we're gonna wrap it up. We want to thank everybody for tuning in. Like I said, we talk about love and family. We talk about it all. Positive energy out to everybody that has experienced any kind of loss.
Absolutely.
We love you. I am your man, Carolina Sin. This is the absolute prettiest Tiff. And we appreciate y'all.